Welcome to the Video Lab Live Show, your weekly interactive live show about video specific marketing. And I've got special guest LinkedIn expert Chuck Shaver on the show today. And we're going to be talking about LinkedIn video. Oh, I've got my other thing going on here. Oh, there we go. I just muted that. I had some like background noise. I'm like, who's that talking? All right. So we're going to be talking with Chuck Shaver about LinkedIn video. And will LinkedIn video help grow your business and connections? We need to answer that, because that's why we're here. So what are some most effective types of video content on LinkedIn and some LinkedIn video best practices? We'll kind of cover a lot of those things. And towards the end of the episode, Chuck is going to bring his one thing to take away from this episode about LinkedIn video. If you don't get anything else from this whole entire conversation, Chuck's one thing is something you're not going to want to miss. So make sure you stick around for that. Chuck is a certified LinkedIn expert. I'm just basically going to read your LinkedIn profile here, Chuck. Chuck is a certified LinkedIn expert and LinkedIn top voice for leadership, social selling, sales, lead generation, sales training, and sales and marketing with around 12,000 personal LinkedIn followers. He does LinkedIn trainings, profile optimizations, consultations, and so many other things specific to LinkedIn. And let me tell you this, I had coffee with Chuck last week, and the way he talks about LinkedIn totally blew my mind with everything that he knows. So I'm excited for you to learn more about LinkedIn video today on the show. And this is a live show. It's interactive, which means at any point you can jump into the comments or chat and bring your questions or input to the show. And here's what I want to do right now. I kind of want to warm this chat up just a little bit. So if you want to jump into the chat, and I'm going to pop it up here on my screen, jump into the chat. Just say hi. Say hi. Let me know where you're watching from. So wherever you're watching from, jump into the chat, say hi, let me know where you're watching from. If you don't know me, my name is Caleb, and I'm a video educator and content creator, and I've been doing small-scale freelance video production since 2012 in and around Sioux Falls. I focus on social media video and website video for my clients. I also have a YouTube channel, which is just my name, and it's very niche camera content. And I worked with filmmaking brands from around the world, making video content for them as well. So I started the Video Lab live show as a weekly interactive live show streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, what we're talking about today, to help you harness the power of online video with video-specific marketing tips, tricks, and trends. All right. Okay, we got Matt jumping in here. Matt's watching from a parking lot in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Matt, are you staying warm out there? Thank you for jumping into the chat, Matt. Now, if you're just joining us, I've got LinkedIn expert Chuck Shaver on the show today. And remember, this is an interactive live stream. So jump into the chat, comment, say hi, let me know where you're watching from. And I'm going to add this as well. What's the biggest struggle, the one biggest struggle that you face when putting video on LinkedIn? Maybe that's a technical thing. Maybe that's a confidence thing. What's one of the biggest struggles that you face when you're putting video on LinkedIn? Now, I just have a little disclaimer here before we get into the conversation with Chuck. These episodes are just some possibilities that you have with video, but doesn't necessarily mean everything will work like magic for you. It requires a ton of hard work and consistency and some strategy, and possibly even partnering with professionals like Chuck or myself to get the results that you hope for. And with that being said, maybe toss some like praise hand emojis in the chat or something. Let's bring in Chuck. And this guest intro is sponsored by the Breaks Coffee. Hey, Chuck.
How's it going?
How are you doing today?
I'm doing well.
Yeah,
doing
good.
well.
So
Cold.
good to have you on here. Yeah, cold, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm pumped to learn about LinkedIn because I feel like it's appropriate that this conversation is kind of around Halloween because it's spooky season, and LinkedIn kind of freaks me out a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I don't totally understand that platform.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me a little bit about what you do for LinkedIn.
I train companies and individuals, if they wanted that level, on two primary areas I focus on is the LinkedIn profile and sales training with LinkedIn. So
excellent.
Just now, getting them comfortable.
And so how long have you been doing LinkedIn work, like kind of consultation or?
Yeah, as far as full time, I'm coming up on 6 years now.
Yeah, amazing.
So I've been off on my own for around 3 now.
Okay, excellent. And are there like special like trainings, workshops that you do like you just launched something recently, didn't you?
Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
with what you would consider competitors, I guess.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you get to know people
Oh
that
yeah,
are
absolutely.
competitors or friendly conversations you have with people in your field. And, you know, two other gentlemen that I've grown to respect
Yeah.
and work with a lot in the last year. We did, like, as the kids like to call it, a side hustle.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That's
you know,
true.
we all have these large corporate engagements that are, you know, come with a
Yeah.
large price tag, and a lot of people just want, you know, some of that information, but they can't afford it. So
Right.
we
Yeah.
decided to start a community. So it's
Okay.
like a bi-weekly, 1 hour, you know, like it's 30 minutes of us educating,
Yeah.
15, 20 minutes of Q&A kind of thing. We record it so you can watch it at any time or
Okay.
rewatch it. And then we've got like a chat group. So it's like
Yeah.
this community,
Yeah. That's really
and it's
cool.
like a $99 a month.
Yeah.
You know, you can join and just get exposure to answering your questions
Yeah.
from experts.
I
So,
love that. I love that idea of the community, the
right,
cohort, and that's
right,
what I hope to do with this the video lab as well. You know, like that
right,
type of thing. Like it's a support group.
right,
It's a you learn. You know, uh, leverage the expertise of others. Right.
right.
Yeah, I love that. Do you like coffee?
Love coffee.
Yeah. Well, today we're drinking the Breaks Coffee, and this guest intro segment is sponsored by the Breaks Coffee. Chuck's holding it up right there, taking a sip. We should do some ASMR sipping of the coffee, Chuck. I don't know. Maybe that's not good live stuff here, but thank you, Breaks, for sponsoring this. You can jump into the shop Tuesday through Sunday. They're open. They're not open Monday, so I can't go down after this after this episode and get a cup of coffee.
Right.
But they are open on Tuesday through Sunday. And also, you know, the holidays are coming up. I'm going to toss this QR code up here. Holidays are coming up, so maybe you might want to get some coffee, some beans for your loved ones. You can go to the breakscoffeeroasting.com or stop into the shop. And the coffee is amazing. We brewed it in here, smells amazing. And it's going to be a good conversation about LinkedIn video, Chuck, over a cup of coffee. All right. So we asked that question, right? Will video help you grow your business and your connections on LinkedIn?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, the show's done. We're done, I guess. Yeah. No. Okay. So let's expound on that a little bit.
Right.
So yes, it will. And I think video on like pretty much every platform is going to kind of help bring awareness and things like that. What are some ways that it will help grow your business or connections on LinkedIn?
Well, you know, everyone, you know, probably agrees that video's better than text. I mean, I can throw out stats of, you know, like, well, a picture's worth 1,000 words.
Right.
Well, video's worth 10,000.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so it allows you to, you know, I mean, you can have a long video, but in a very short video, you can pack a ton of information. And I have a lot of stats, you know, as far as the absorption rate. I think I put down.
Yeah. If you have some written down, let's go over those.
95% of a message in video is remembered.
Yeah.
That's
right on.
Yep. I've got a stat there on that. So, so, I mean, how many people will read a pamphlet?
Yeah.
That's like a 3-pager and remember 95% of it. You know,
I know I won't.
Yeah. It's just, it's a great medium for anyone, no matter how your brain works.
Right.
It's a better way to absorb information.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And I like that. Like, even with captions now, you know, putting captions on it, like you get the reading part, you get the mobile part, you know, like a lot of times people aren't watching mobile video with the sound on. Right. So like having those captions are very important. Even, I mean, huge. Even on LinkedIn. So you have like the listening, sometimes you have the reading, you have the visual. So like hitting all of those different points,
right?
Like that's how you retain that information.
Yeah. And that's real important because the last stat I saw was 62% of people look at your LinkedIn profile and the content that you put out there on mobile.
Okay. Yep.
So
yeah, that's huge.
So that whole fact of you using, I use closed caption on almost everyone. If I get lazy, sometimes maybe I'll let something out, but always try to have closed caption on it.
Interesting,
because and closed caption is much better than like a worded document.
Yeah.
Because it's live, it's active. You know, if you use the ones that it like highlights or pops up as you're speaking the words, it's real easy for people to follow. And most people don't have their volume on.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so
100%.
if more people are looking at your content on mobile and they have their audio off more than on, then how are they going to understand what the video
exactly.
is?
I mean, it's just going to be a scroll point from
Right,
there. I mean,
right,
they're just going to
right.
take their thumb and just scroll up. Now, have you noticed anything with like kind of the balance between, like, let's say you do put a video post out there, right? Like, do you have to have like certain things kind of in that description post as well to kind of
where the text,
in the text part of it? Like, you know, I'm not talking about the captions now. I'm talking about the actual text part of the post.
Right.
You know, like, is there certain things that like are important for that, or is it something where you can just like almost kind of just blast off a video and maybe put like a title in there or something?
No, there's a lot of things.
Yeah.
LinkedIn's a whole algorithm. So it's like a whole dance. So, I mean, when you're talking about putting video's the best content medium to put out there, hands down. And I could talk ad nauseam about why and throwing out stats, but there's also algorithms behind it. So like if I just had a scheduler and I was not logged into my platform and I auto schedule had a video go out that had no text behind it, it's going to crash and burn no matter how good the video is.
Good to know. Yeah.
So there are things like warming up the platform. So LinkedIn likes to see that you are logged in and you are active and you are participating with other content prior to yours going out there.
So you kind of need to be active to start with, really.
So that kind of like warms it up for you. And that also lets other people know, hey, you put content out this morning that I support. So when mine comes out, can you support mine too? Kind of thing without saying that. And that's what happens. But LinkedIn's pushing it out to them more. Then there's things like, what is this video about? Are there some like appropriate hashtags you want to add in this? Are there some people that are involved with this that you want to, or companies that you want to mention? That way they're tagged. That way that's going to get in front of them. Here's another algorithm twist is if I go and I put, you know, whatever, some celebrity in there, because that's what it's about. A lot of people think, oh, well, if I mention this celebrity that has
bound to get noticed,
1 million followers, that's a great thing. No, because LinkedIn watches, do they like or comment on it? So if you mention somebody and they don't see that post or like or comment on it, then they're going to downplay your reach.
That's really interesting. So it like really is like connection driven, like really taking those connections and kind of weaving them all together. That's really interesting to me. Like, be active on the platform. That is probably more likely that your stuff's going to be pushed out. That's really interesting to me. Now we do have Rick watching from home office in Brandon. Welcome to the stream, Rick. Glad you're here. And again, we're with Chuck Shaver, LinkedIn expert. If you have any questions about video, specific video on LinkedIn, make sure you drop those into the chat, and we'd love to get to some of those questions as well. Okay, so we're talking a little bit about, we answered the question, and it was a resounding yes on does video help grow your business or connections and connections on LinkedIn? Are there some like best practices when it comes to the, like, maybe the type of content that you put on? Like, maybe, okay, so like, you know, YouTube, there's different types of content, but it really loves the long form type content, you know, maybe like 8 minutes or above, 15 minutes, even longer sometimes, you know, for binge watching. Is that something on LinkedIn? Is that something that you want to pay attention to, like the types of content that you're putting on there?
Yeah, you want to keep it short. Usually. Because of the attention span that people are there. It's a B2B platform. So, you know, there's different types of subject matter. I mean, sometimes I do something that's just silly or funny. It might be a meme. It might be a little video clip from a movie that everyone can relate to. And then in the text, I have like a message behind it. You know? But ultimately, it's a B2B platform that has the opportunity for you to sell your business. You know, that's the real value of it. So if you just want to entertain people, you can have a lot more fun on Meta or
Instagram
TikTok,
or something. Totally.
You know, so and get it in front of a lot more people. You know? So if you want to go to YouTube, if you want to do that, if you want to, you know, just have fun with it. you're not going to get the reach. It's harder on
Okay.
LinkedIn. You're not going to get that reach. You're not going to, you can't like Instagram, even though I think they've changed that recently. I'm not a big Instagram person.
Yeah, it's always changing, I feel like.
But Instagram used to have like put 1,000, hashtags on it, and that's a good thing because it gets in all these different feeds, and LinkedIn hates that. They'll squash it. Not just there's studies that of LinkedIn algorithm will downplay the reach, but on top of that, the feedback from the readers is like, this is cluttery.
Okay.
And I don't.
Yeah.
It's
that
like,
makes sense.
And so they want it short. They want it short. So, and the other drawback to LinkedIn is there's very limited analytics you can get from it.
Okay.
Like
that's what I was wondering. I was wondering about analytics. Talk into that a little bit.
So, I mean, who comes, how long they stay, where they go, who they are.
Yeah.
Any of those sort of things, you can get a lot better information off of a YouTube or your website, and your own information. So it's about put for like this podcast, it's like the video of this podcast is long. You're not going to upload this whole thing to a feed on LinkedIn because nobody's going to probably, if they catch it live, great. But they're not going to like sit through a recording typically. So you put like that bite, something that's going to grab their attention, then give them a link to go out to a YouTube or something that you have on your website. And then you're going to get much better analytics from it. And it's a mindset, some of these social media feeds, people don't realize there's the short attention span. People are like, well, then how can I get these long videos? And I'm like, well, if they go to a podcast series, they know they're in it for 30 to 60 minutes.
Right. Yeah.
They have that mindset. If I go to a movie, I know I'm sitting down with my attention for 2 hours.
This seems like longer now at movies. Jeez.
But it's like perception.
Yep. Right.
And if you over exceed that perception, then it's really hard to keep people's attention.
Yeah. Interesting. I'm just going to toss this in before we keep going. Now, if you are thinking about making video content on your own, or, maybe you have internal marketing within your company that's just kind of looking for some content ideas, I encourage you to go and download the free Video Lab video playbook that I have available for you. The link is in the description. And this right here is just a starting point for some video content if you need to get going. And I have everything from like some different niche areas in here: hair salon, clothing boutique, personal finance, some very specific niche ideas in here as well that you can kind of apply to whatever area that you're in business, or, maybe you're just starting a business looking for different types of video content to make. I encourage you to go download the Video Lab video playbook. It's a free guide. It's for you. Just plug in your email address and you can have that video playbook to use whenever you need to, reference whenever you need to. And go do that. Now I lost my mouse here so I'm like, kind of tripping over some stuff here, but Chuck, we're going to get back into our conversation if I can figure this out. Right. Oh my goodness. This is great live stuff right here. Okay. We have a question from Don that I'm going to pop up here. Don, thanks for jumping into the chat. Do you recommend transcribing the basic message of the video in the video post, or let the video do the talking with just an intro in the post?
I would do if they're talking about like I'm posting it on LinkedIn and the post like text area, I would customize it.
Okay.
Because I like to, if you let it be like what the basic is, then it's usually too long.
Okay.
Kind of shorten it up. Think about,
it's almost like a hook almost.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the other thing is they talk about is, it helps the algorithm the longer they're in that video. I mean, it's not like a math thing. It's like, well, if they watch it for 3 seconds, then that like checks a box.
Gotcha.
And so versus them just like, oops, I didn't mean to play that and stop it.
Yeah.
It doesn't count, kind of thing. So, so put that hook in.
Yeah.
And they talk about the line break.
Okay.
So it's the see more is a booster to the algorithm.
Okay.
So
what is
so you have so if you look at any post, there's once you keep typing text at a certain point, they'll only give you so many characters before it's like ... see more.
Okay.
So you have to click the see more to expand the full message. that's
exactly.
that's a trigger for LinkedIn of
Okay.
like somebody's engaged enough to click.
Gotcha.
I want to see the full
Okay.
message. And so the
That makes
best thing you
sense.
can do is have the shortest hook that compels somebody to always click that,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
and you can, you know, press that as far as you want. But,
Right.
you know, it's like, what's the shortest way I can like put the best hook in there
Yeah.
to get them to that second. But talk about the video. If they're, like I said, if it mentions a company, an industry that you can hashtag, a
Yep.
person, mention them.
And would that be like in that top part before the see more? Or would that be like, could that be anywhere in that post?
No, you want that down in the post. I mean, usually you're not putting a company or a name like right in a hook.
Right.
I mean, a hook's usually like a statement, like
or a question. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Like that compels people that they want to click and find out more. So I customize them all and then I'll go through. I mean, I schedule mine out.
Okay. Yep.
So I kind of like will build them to post like days down the road.
Gotcha.
And then that day or the next day, I'll reread it. Because sometimes you put something out there and it's just like, that sounds stupid, or that doesn't flow. Or I can think of a better hook than that or something like that. So
okay. Now, do you find it helpful, like when you schedule stuff out, do you find it helpful kind of like being in that zone, putting all this content together?
Yeah. So when it comes to content in general, video especially, you know, I'm all for batching.
Gotcha. Yeah. That's a great word.
If I keep folders for everything. So I've got a meme folder, I've got a video folder, I've got you know, one for all different mediums. And then if I create something that is timeless, especially like a tip video and it's still relevant, I'll schedule it to be like the next available spot. Maybe that's 4 days out or something.
Gotcha. Yep.
And I'll schedule it for that day. And then I'll say, you know what, this is timeless.
Yeah.
I always get different people looking at my stuff at different times. Different people have schedules, whatever. I'm going to also schedule it a month and a half down the road.
Gotcha.
And then also 90 days down the road.
Right.
So now
like way out.
Yeah. So I created that piece of content, but now I'm getting 3 days worth out of it.
Totally. Yeah.
So I've done that enough now that I've got 90 days of content booked out.
Yeah.
So like the post that went out this morning, I mean, I was busy coming down here and doing that stuff. So all I was doing is jumping in and responding to comments,
which is important.
Right.
Yeah.
It was, and that's a whole nother algorithm booster too, you know, staying on top of it, staying in that. So yeah, I mean, create it, batch it, schedule it. But I've got my value at the end is a twist on that.
So okay. Yeah, that's a good hook right there. I like that. Now,
stay tuned.
Stay tuned. He was debating whether wearing those headphones, and I think you just doing that, you liked wearing those headphones for what you just did.
I've never worn headphones before, and in the sound check, I was like, God, I can hear my own voice.
Yeah.
And I can inflectuate it.
I was like, Chuck, you're gonna like this experience with the headphones.
It's kind of creepy. It's like hearing your own voice.
Yeah. Now, as far as like some of the video content goes, like on other platforms, consistency really is king in some of those areas. Like, is it the same for LinkedIn? Like, you want to be consistent with some of this video content. Like, what would you speak into that a little bit? Is like consistency that big of a deal when it comes to video content on LinkedIn, or is it more like engaging with other people to
just being
your stuff
active?
To get seen? Yeah,
I think active and staying on point. You know, LinkedIn's a B2B platform that you can drive a lot of business through. And the best way to drive business is to add value. So it's like the whole giver's gain thing.
Love that. Yeah.
So, you know, everyone's gotten so used to the buyer's journey on their own.
Yeah.
I'm an ex-tech sales rep and that was used to the old school of, you know, banging the phones all day long. And the success rate of that these days is horrible because people are really hard to reach, you know? So, but what video is great at, any you know, content that you're putting out there is good at, is it allows you to sit there and say, this was a win I had this week with a client.
Okay.
Let me share it. So I'm going to mention the company. I'm going to mention that client. And I'm going to show a testimonial video that we did with them or something. And then all of a sudden, guess what? Well, that customer and that company might comment on it.
Gotcha.
Boost the algorithm. Guess what? It's also boosting it to their connections. Guess what? some competitors see it,
Yeah.
some coworkers see it, and oh, I got a project that, oh, they did well for you, I could wear, and
Yeah.
it just snowballs.
Okay.
And that's the thing, is I'm not trying to pitch.
Yeah.
I don't connect and pitch with people. That's
Right.
suicide.
Yeah.
It's cold calling.
Yeah.
So for 2 years, I really haven't done any prospecting. I haven't done any
Wow.
cold calling. It's all inbound.
Wow.
So people are like, hey, I saw those
2
tips.
years.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing.
So people see that I know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
And they're like, you know more than I do. Can you help me out?
Yeah.
And I don't claim to know everything. And that's why I meet with competitors
Oh,
and
yeah.
peers,
Yep.
because we think we know, almost everything.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
and I was like, oh, did you find
Collectively.
out about this new feature? And they're like, what's that? Where'd
Yeah.
you get that? And, and we switch stuff back and forth all the time. That's why I meet with a lot of competitors and take other people's courses
Yeah,
and stuff
totally.
like that. Because it's like, you'll never be as good as me.
Yeah.
Because unless you're in this,
Yeah.
I'm in LinkedIn 12 hours a
Yeah,
day,
totally.
365 days. You don't have the
100%.
time
Yeah.
to be as good as I am.
Yeah. Like you
My
said, you're trying to
goal-
find clients and customers and things like
Yeah. Our goal is both of our goals.
Yep.
Is to help you get the best quality results.
Yeah.
In the shortest amount of time.
Yeah.
Because if you did it yourself, you're never going to be as good as us.
Right.
And that sounds arrogant.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's
true.
This is
Yeah.
our livelihood. This
Yeah.
is what we live.
100%.
But we're saving you time.
Yeah.
And everyone knows time is money.
Absolutely.
So yeah, you can have your marketing team do it in-house.
Right.
But if it takes them 6 months to do something that's not quite as good as what we can deliver,
Yeah.
where's the value?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's how that works out.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Again, if you're just joining us, we're talking with Chuck Shaver, LinkedIn expert, and you can jump into the chat at any time. Jump into the chat. If you have any questions about video on LinkedIn, ask them in the chat and we'll pop them up on the screen and we'll kind of talk through those things. Okay. So you talked a little bit about that giver's gain concept, that Dale Carnegie concept a little bit, like what types of value should we be giving in little short videos? You're saying kind of short style videos a little bit, like not super long, not definitely not 8 minutes long, but like what type of value should we be bringing, especially if we're looking to kind of grow our connection base?
Right.
I would say even just specifically grow our connection base, not even like grow sales business or anything like that. Like what type of value should we be bringing in some of those that video content that we do?
Well, everything, anything, like I said before, like if you have an aha moment with a client or whatever your weekly routine is, or you did a project, it could be like broken down in the different steps that you do, in what you're doing with the, your videos that you have out about videos.
Oh yeah.
It's like you're educating people. It's like, if you really want to do it yourself, I'm happy to, I just want everyone to get better.
Right. So there's value in doing video. So let's talk about it.
If you're a do-it-yourselfer, I'll save you some pain.
Yeah.
And I'll give you some nuggets here.
Yep.
And some of those people are going to circle back and say, ugh, I'm over my head.
So,
help me anyway.
Yeah.
And that's good for us.
Right.
And then others, it's like, look, if you're a do-it-yourselfer and really want to do it yourself, then you're going to figure out how to do it anyway. So I might as well save you some time.
Yeah.
100%. But it's even the people that straight up or would hire you.
Yeah.
That shows your value. It shows that you know what you're talking about.
Okay.
It shows that they're just like when we had coffee and we're both playing off each other. It's like, wow, I didn't know that. Oh, wow, that's cool. And we did that back and forth.
Totally.
And it's like, it's infectious.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. Now, let's get into this a little bit. I think this is kind of an important aspect to video on any platform. It's kind of the analytics a little bit. And then we're not going to we don't need to dive into every single piece of analytics, but are there certain things, like let's say we start posting some video content, are there certain things that we should be watching for to kind of measure success with a video post?
That's not an easy answer.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, everyone knows that, you have likes and you have comments.
Yeah.
And you have views.
Yep.
So you get that data from LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So not all likes are alike.
Yeah.
So now LinkedIn, not now, I mean, it's been out for a while, but LinkedIn has more than just the thumbs up like.
Okay.
They have other emotions that you can do.
Yep.
A
Heart,
laughing,
clap,
support,
Yep.
a heart, applaud, celebrate.
Oh, yeah.
So those are worth more than the standard like.
Interesting. Okay. Well, that's good to know.
So if you see something and you think it's funny,
Yeah.
help the person out and give a little effort and give them the laughy emoji
I gotcha. Okay.
instead of the like,
Yeah.
because that's better for them. Comments are much better.
Right.
Shares without the comment
Okay.
help the original poster.
Okay.
Shares with your own comments only helps you.
Okay. I got you.
So if you want to help
Yes.
out if you want to praise that person,
Yep.
then the share without a comment
Interesting.
helps them. But if you share with your own comment, then that only serves you.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. But the first way doesn't serve
Yeah.
you. So it depends on.
That's kind of blowing my mind
And
right
there's
now,
like
actually.
times a day, and and it's
Yeah.
my average post gets 1,500 to 2,000 views.
Okay.
And 25 to 50 likes.
Yep.
And 10 to 35 comments.
Right.
That's kind of average.
Yeah.
My
Okay.
biggest in the last couple of months has been like over 20,000
Yeah.
the views and over 100 likes and
Right.
that sort of thing. So that, and you look at a lot of people that don't do that because they don't play all the games. They don't do
Yeah.
that. So, but it's like, it's pretty limited at what you're getting from that
Right.
analytics. That's it. So
Yeah.
that's why it's like, keep it short, keep it sweet. You can put hyperlinks in it. It used
Gotcha.
to hurt you. You
Yeah.
can't now, but get that. Here's a hook. Here's a nugget. Oh, for more information, get the hell out of LinkedIn.
So that's really interesting to me that they're almost encouraging you to leave the platform. Is that kind of what they're doing?
No.
Oh, okay.
But they used to like really sit on your reach if you,
Okay.
especially in the body of it, if you put the
Yeah.
hyperlink in there,
Okay.
but they don't. Tests have shown, and
Yeah.
myself and many other people have done way more extensive testing that
Yep.
that's not the hand slap that it used to be from
Okay.
LinkedIn.
So it's all right to like send them a link to your send them to your website or something.
Yeah. And that's where real value and real analytics come
Yeah.
in. That's the
Interesting.
end goal.
Because I'm used to a platform like YouTube, which they just want you to stay on that platform. Like,
And
yes,
most social networks
yeah,
do.
yes, you can, put external links in your description and thing like that, and like send them out, but they want you to stay on that platform as long as possible.
Right.
Binge watch. That's why like bingeable content is so popular
Right.
on YouTube,
Right.
And so it's kind of blowing my mind right now that like it's almost not necessarily a reward to send them out from LinkedIn, but it's like almost like an encouraged thing. It's like, go get more information here.
Right.
That's really interesting to me.
Yeah. And that's on the personal LinkedIn side.
Yeah. Okay.
There's there's
sense.
some cooler stuff you can do on the business LinkedIn page side. So
Okay.
if somebody's a solopreneur and they don't really do much with the business page, you really should.
Right.
And if you're a larger company and you have a business page that's not getting a lot of traction, there's a lot more value you could be getting out of that. And they have more analytics. They even, some of the cool things you can do with that is you can, they'll even allow you to put up to I don't know if you are the 10th. I think it's 10 total. I don't know if you're included as one of those 10, but you can put in competitors.
Okay.
And it'll give you a cross comparison of how many posts did you put out versus
That's amazing.
your competitor?
Yeah.
How many views did you get compared to your competitor?
Yep.
How many, all that stuff you can. So if you want to, what I do is I take competitors much larger.
Yeah.
than me,
Right.
the big dogs.
Yep.
And I put them up there and I'm like,
To kind of measure yourself.
yeah, it's like this page has over 100,000 followers.
Right, yeah.
I don't have a fraction of that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if I can get as close, percentage wise,
Yeah.
I can get more likes per my, reach,
Yep.
then I'm like, well, I'm feeling pretty good. And I'm climbing up the ladder.
Gotcha.
I'm climbing up the ladder.
And that is all built into LinkedIn. Like that's
all
that's not
local.
external plugins or anything that you toss into the program.
No, it's just,
That's crazy.
It's just flip. Yeah.
Yeah.
LinkedIn is so deep that most people don't even know.
Yeah.
I
don't.
There's just in the LinkedIn profile, there's 308 areas and settings.
Wow.
And most people don't even do 100 of them.
Right.
I mean, there's things you're wide open for security wise that scare most people that they have no idea they're open to.
Really? Wow.
And then they get crazy shutting other things down.
Yep.
So it's like,
can you name all 300?
I've got a spreadsheet.
That's another episode.
I got a spreadsheet. I can tell you the 6 categories that break down into 300. Yeah, I mean, I go through that when I'm doing profile optimization.
Absolutely.
It's you want to be visible for the right people but not the wrong people. So,
because you know, going back to that analytics thing, it's crazy because I take this show, for example, and I break it into smaller segments, reels with,
Right.
you know, captions on it and things
Right.
like that. If you haven't checked that out, I mean, we can connect on LinkedIn and you'll see all those things pop up throughout the week. But like, so on maybe Facebook, for example, like we're streaming to Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Facebook, for example, I'll take, you know, that cut of this episode and it may get like 1,200 views,
Right.
that short clip. And I put it on LinkedIn and it's like 8 views. Is it the type of content that's not getting those views, or is it
I'll post for it. I'll help you out on the posting. On
oh,
LinkedIn,
I'm going to write that down here.
Yeah, there's well, again, it's all different, you know, it's like
totally.
You could, you know, put a poop emoji up on TikTok and get 1 million views, you know, it's like
to 100%.
But it's harder to get that reach, but there's also a lot more algorithm games to play with LinkedIn.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think is happening now. Is like, oh, okay, I'm starting to understand the game a little bit. LinkedIn.
I'm a single individual in my company. I'm a consultant. I have over 1 million views of my content this year. And you know, and I have just shy of 11,000 followers.
Right.
So it's like, I'll meet with a Fortune 500 company and talk to them, and I'm like, I'm a one-man show. You have 8,000 employees, and I'm crushing you. You know, that's a problem. That's a missed opportunity.
Wow, that's interesting.
You know, so and again, there's people that have 1 million a month. You know? It's like, but my connections are my ICP, my ideal customer profile.
Gotcha.
And that's also the value. It's like your video.
It's almost like your target. Like,
your videos not only need to educate, but if your connections aren't your potential clients,
right?
It's like, you know, my brother, my cousin, and the people I go to church with or whatever, you know, they're like, oh, that's entertaining, or oh, that's interesting, you know, but it's like, if it's not going to pay my bills in the long run,
kind of what are we doing here, right?
Then leave it on YouTube and leave it on Meta, you know, that it's LinkedIn's a place to, you know, make some revenue.
For business.
Right.
Okay. I like that. This is all really intriguing to me, this whole conversation about LinkedIn, because like I said, going into this, I didn't understand the platform. I'm just like kind of tossing stuff up there, hoping for the best. But I think now, kind of like after this conversation and after our coffee conversation, kind of like I'm starting to kind of grasp the whole LinkedIn realm a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see moving forward how that might help.
We'll play around with some stuff.
Okay. All right. Now there is still time. We're talking with Chuck Shaver, LinkedIn expert in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And if you have, there's still time to toss your questions into the chat. If you have any questions about LinkedIn specific video or specific LinkedIn video, or just video in general on LinkedIn. So thank you for those who have jumped in so far. Chuck, let's talk about, well, we did talk about a little bit about, yes, it will help grow your business and your connections doing video. We talked a little bit about, you know, the types of video content to put on there. We talked a little bit more about, you know, some of the other areas, a little bit of optimizing the video a little bit. We talked a little bit about that, a little bit about the analytics. Is there anything else about LinkedIn video that we did not hit that you think?
Well, I think we talked about this offline, and I see that Don Barnett had a comment up there of in regards to something we touched on like before we jumped on the call, and that was I think he's referring to like closed caption type videos.
Yeah. We talked about this a little bit about the actual post,
transcribing, you know, the basic message,
like having that hook up there, you know, on that. Post.
Oh, okay. And maybe I'm not understanding Don's exact question or not, but offline, whether that pertains to that at all, loosely or not. We talked about closed caption. That's another thing.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about.
We talked about it a little bit. We talked about a little bit closed captioning.
It's important.
But having that,
it's very important.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, and really, that's like going across platforms now. Just mobile viewing, like even on here when you are viewing. I mean, maybe having it kind of vertical like this too might be important, because that's taking up the most real estate on this screen. And how many people are watching?
62% of people are viewing
right
your
here.
LinkedIn profile content, whatever, on mobile, which is in
right
portrait mode, which most people don't have video formatted properly to make full use of that. I mean, you'll see it all the time. It's like heavily cropped.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
And you're like, what am I watching?
Right. So you want to have it formatted correctly that it'll stand up on whatever platform they're looking on.
Okay. Well, Chuck, I think it's the moment that we've all been waiting for. I think it's time for your one thing. All right. So if you're watching, if you're just joining us, Chuck's going to give his one thing. If you don't get anything else from this whole conversation, and the nice thing about this is that, you know, especially on Facebook and YouTube and LinkedIn, this video will stay on that platform. So you can kind of reference it whenever you want, go back and you can watch this at any point. But you have one thing to take away from this whole conversation about LinkedIn video. Give us that.
I would say that manually do all your posts.
Okay.
What I mean by that is, I mentioned before about, you know, you want to be active and you want to warm up the platform.
Yep.
Even though I schedule out like all of my posts, I don't let the scheduler push out the post.
Oh, interesting.
Because I find it must be part of the algorithm, but I find that they don't do as well as the ones that I organically upload the video or the graphic or whatever and manually type it in. No, and I've tried numerous different platforms. So I get better response. So I think they know.
Yeah.
I think LinkedIn knows the
difference. There must be a bot in there or something that kind of
it's
tracking
like
bot or something.
A cut and paste versus actual keystrokes,
you
know, of the information going in there. So
wow.
You can put a link in there, but if you are going to attach a video have that video local and upload it right to it.
Yeah. Native.
Type out your message. I mean, you could probably cut and paste the text part of it if you wanted to, and go in there and play around with it a little bit, reread it, edit it. Yeah, that will help your reach as opposed to auto pushed out.
Wow, that's like a golden nugget right there.
I hope so.
That's crazy to me.
Yep.
Okay, so even though you're using a scheduler,
native and manual, keep it native and manual.
You actually go and type it in, or and then natively upload to LinkedIn.
Yeah, whatever.
Yes. Yeah. That's a good word. Interesting. Okay. All right. Any last thoughts before
do video?
I go into my outro here.
Yeah, learn to do video at any cost.
Yeah.
If you're not comfortable, or if you need a jump start, outsource it. I mean, there's so many great people like yourself that will sit down, not on camera, not live, but
totally.
just one-on-one, and let's just, record a conversation.
Yep.
And then you can break it down into all these little pieces of content.
Yeah.
Here, let's record 30 minutes and I'll make 30 little 1 minute videos out of it.
100%. And I like what you said about that batch shooting too, whether that's on your own or whether you are bringing somebody in, hire somebody with lighting and cameras and everything to make that batch shoot stuff.
Right.
And you have 30 days worth of content right there in one shoot.
And, don't be afraid to hire somebody. Don't be afraid to jump in and not look great your first time out.
Right. Yeah.
So just,
and that's all right. I mean,
do it.
Yeah. You'll get better as you go. Right.
Yeah. I mean, I consider myself pretty handy, but every time I've done something the first time, it was miserable, and it's like the third time you're like, okay, now I'm not embarrassing myself. And fifth time you're pretty good at it.
And honestly, like, for my YouTube channel where I work with brands, kind of some global brands and stuff, it's like, it took me a long time to get comfortable on camera.
Right.
Like, honestly, it took me like 50 to 100 videos to really get full. And that's long form video.
Right. Oh, sure.
To like get really comfortable on camera.
Right.
And now I can kind of jump on a live stream like this and we're good to go.
Right.
For the most part.
Right.
With a little preparation. You obviously want to be prepared for some things.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it takes time, takes practice. Just try it.
Yeah.
See what happens. All right, Chuck. Well, this is a great conversation.
Yeah.
I know personally, I've learned a lot about LinkedIn video just from this conversation right here. So
I enjoyed the conversation even better than the coffee.
Oh, nice. All right.
That's up
Yeah,
there.
that
This
is
is good
something.
coffee.
I'll make sure to let the breaks know.
Yeah.
No, I won't. Okay. All right, Chuck, I'm going to take you off camera here and I'm just going to go into my outro. Thank you, Chuck, for being on here. And coming up in the near future, I'm just going to pop this graphic up real quick. It's just the future episodes that I have going. There it is. Like I said, I lost my mouse earlier, so it's oh, this is right over top of me. This is what's coming up here in the next few episodes. November 6th, I've got Maddie Pashang, Instagram expert. We're going to be talking about video on Instagram and maybe how that can kind of help grow your business. She does great content on Instagram, and I know that we're going to learn a lot from there. November 13th, Justin Point from Cannonball Digital, and we're actually going to be talking about vertical video. And remember, vertical video, I'm just going to toss my phone off to the side here. Vertical video is this direction, watching, optimize for mobile content and the importance of mobile content. And some platforms, even in advertising, are preferring that video content, that vertical video content over the traditional 16:9 content. So that one is going to be a great conversation. And then the last one in November, Troy Klongerbo from Mount Haley. And we're going to be talking about just providing value in your video content and what that looks like. So I'm looking forward to the next few episodes here on the Video Lab live show. And again, remember, you can go and you can download that video playbook. It's a free digital guide. The link is in the description. Go download that. It'll help you get started if you're kind of exploring this realm of making video content. That'll help you get started, help you get rolling. And I just want to thank those who jumped into the chat. Thank you for bringing your questions, letting me know where you're watching from. I love that information. I love that interaction. Thank you for Chuck for being on the episode. And thank you, Breaks, for being the coffee sponsor and we have some great coffee conversation here. Thanks so much for tuning in. And I will see you next week. We're talking about Instagram video with Maddie